Hey everybody, welcome back to Live Chats with Nico. And today I have some special guests from Zambia and all over the world. They're all over the world, but we're focusing on Zambia today. We're looking at a new movie, very first feature film from Zambia. To join me in this conversation is the crew and part of the cast as well. And we're going to chat with them after this short clip.
Say this, I am powerful.
I am powerful.
Breathe.
I don't care where you go.
I am strong.
I am strong.
I am worthy.
I am worthy.
I belong.
I belong.
Didn't I tell you that we don't play with people like you?
They could never understand you. And what they don't understand, they fear. And what they fear, they seek to destroy.
Wow. To be honest, I had amazing goosebumps watching just this trailer. I think there's so much emotion in a short clip that I've ever experienced in a while now. So I was excited when I saw it, and I thought, you know what, it would be amazing for us to have a conversation with the crew and cast for this feature film. And joining me on this conversation is almost everybody important for us to have a conversation around the making of this film. Well, I'm going to allow everybody to actually introduce themselves so that I don't preempt anything on this. So let's start with Mr. Lawrence. Just briefly tell us who you are and your involvement in this.
Okay, my name is Lawrence Thompson. I'm a filmmaker, and I'm the executive producer and writer of this interesting story.
Okay. So my name is Kenny Mumba, and I am the director of this film. Can you see us? Yeah.
Right.
And you are?
Yeah. I am Tabo Kamba, the main character in this movie.
My name is Yasmin Doja Mumba. I am the producer of the movie Can You See Us?
My name is Ruth Julay. I played the role of the support lead.
Excellent. And also joining us in here is Elliot. Elliot, if you could just probably also quickly introduce yourself, let us know who you are and your role in the film.
Yeah, my name is Kondwani Elliot, and I play Martin, the father to Joseph.
Well, we have the father, we have the mom, and everybody else very important in making of this film. What inspired the making of this film?
Yeah, this film was inspired by the life of a person living with albinism in Zambia. His name is John Chiti, and we traveled we're traveling on a story we were doing about people living with albinism and the ritual killings that take place. Because you see, in Zambia and some parts of Africa, people believe there's this myth that says that if you take a body part of a person living with albinism, you could be rich. And so as we were traveling with John, he told me about his life, and it was so touching. A child, I never realized that people living with albinism were treated the way they were. Although I participated in some of the negative things that were around people living with albinism, because we grew up where we're told when you see a person living with albinism, you should spit on your shirt, so that you don't become a person with albinism. So after he told me his story, which was so touching, and then we later met a young lady called Miriam, who had a hand cut off, brutally cut off, by some witch doctors, and she managed to tell us her story and what she went through. So combining these stories and the several stories that I encountered during the research, because every child who's born with albinism is usually abandoned by their fathers, and usually most of them have single parents, and that's the way it was. So that really inspired me, and I did a little article in the post, I mean in Facebook, and then I saw that lots of people responded to it, and they didn't know that this is what was the case. And with John, we talked about it, and we said that a film should be done for this, and that's exactly what we did. So the story is inspired by it's inspired by the life of John Chitty, the musician, who's an advocate for people living with albinism.
Wow, quite interesting when we look at how you guys try to tell the story and bring the real issues of how people living with albinism, especially in Africa, go through. And I'm glad you guys put this story on screen for the world to know and understand. Let me go to Probitavo. How was it for you to actually play Joseph? Was it easy, or how challenging was it for you?
It wasn't very challenging for me, because most of the things which used to happen in the movie was kind of what used to happen to me. Some difficulties which I had was because I was acting as a boy. Those were my challenges, but it was fair, and yeah, I really I understood it when I read the script, and that's how I got to know it.
Yeah. I think interestingly that you have mentioned that, because I was gonna pick on a girl playing a boy and immersing yourself in the character of a boy. You did it brilliantly. Until now, I was still, trying. I had to read the press kit and make sure I'm going to mention you in the correct gender. I was going to call you he and all, because that's how you came across in the film, and you did very well, I must say. For directing this film, how was that for you as a director?
So I think just when Mr. Lawrence Thompson gave us the story, and then I had a chance to look through it and go through scene by scene, I think the challenge for me is I'm a first time filmmaker. My background is I shoot a lot of commercials, but I think what it became a great training ground to be able to learn a powerful camera language. And I think even making sure that when I sat down with the producer and we had the right crew to make sure that it has a very interesting cinematic language that enhances the story. So I think most of those, you see that there's a lot of close-ups in this story, is because there's a lot of emotions that actually needed to be conveyed, and we needed to feel them in the close-up shots. So I think that's really the approach I took. And I think being on set for that long was also challenging, because every day you needed to be fresh, you needed to kind of be on your A game.
That's so true. And I think even the trailer itself just shows you an amount of work that went in, making sure the production went according to plan. And probably you can tell me a bit about the process. When did you guys start this production? How long it took you to actually come up with this, up to the trailer stage, and the process for you? How was it?
It was very intense. We literally had 3 weeks to a month of pre-production, which is not a lot of time for a movie. especially when you're a first time. It's my first time producing a feature film. Similar to Kate, I focused a lot on commercials and documentaries around Africa. But having a limited time for pre-production, being able to bring gear into a country where a lot of filming equipment doesn't exist, that the quality we wanted, sitting down with Mr. Thompson and Kenny himself to figure out who would be the best cast to put forward. We had to go through auditions. We had to sit down around a table and constantly decide, okay, who's best for what role. The biggest challenge I had in pre-production was us finding the lead.
Right.
I think up till a week before we were due to film, we had not found our lead. So it was like a blessing when Tawa walked into our lives, and it was like, she's the one. And that was a tough challenge. In terms of production, it's also the long hours, a limited space of time. We shot for 38 days.
Wow.
Yes, and then the issue of trying to get it out there, get it on Netflix, having the premiere, which Mr. Lawrence Thompson pushed really hard to make sure that it came right, where we could have the president, the sitting president in Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, attend in cinema was amazing. So yeah, it's been a long journey. It's been a long journey.
Amazing. Well, we've got Grace joining us here. Thank you, Grace, for coming through to chat with us. Now, I'm going to quickly go to you to introduce yourself so that we're on the same page with the conversation here.
Hello, everybody. So my name is Grace Rumsey, and I play Aunt Brenda in Can You See Us?
Excellent. We have Auntie Brenda in the house. I'm going to go to Ruth quickly as mom, and just, give us a little bit of insight in the role that you played and how that felt for you and how involving it was.
Okay, so it was a very interesting role for me to play. The part that I found to be most challenging was the fact that Chama's personality was that of an introvert, and by personality, I'm an extrovert. So having to change personalities, that was really difficult for me. That was really difficult because I'm so outspoken, and then Chama had to be the Sato one. Getting Sato on set was tough, and but I did enjoy my entire experience there, because when I had time to interact with Tabo, I really got to understand that people living with albinism, they really go through a tough time. It's not as easy as how we see things to be normal, For us who don't have albinism, we feel like everybody is experiencing the same opportunities and the same lifestyle that we have. But people living with albinism, they always have to walk looking on top of their shoulders, always scared to say, what if someone attacks me? So I really learned a lot, and that really taught me that I really need to mind how I speak to these people, how they are treated, and that they have the same emotions just like the way we all do. So yeah, that's how my experience was.
Excellent. And I'm going to go quickly to also to Elliot here. Elliot, you've done a lot of stage work, according to your profile, theater stage work, and having to come to a feature film set, that's a different ballgame altogether. How were you able to take your stage character and put it through a film and a film with this kind of a theme? How were you able to do that?
I think the directors actually helped me a lot because there's this thing that we have with theater actors. We have so much energy. Sometimes it's unnecessary. So I think sitting down with the director and then just understanding why this guy is this cool and why is he taking this child in, getting to understand all that, I think it brought down the theater side of me.
Yeah. And yeah, I think that's the correct way to actually put it. Theater work and film are totally different things, and the energy that you also carry on stage is not necessarily the energy that we want to see on film, because it then defeats, you know, the emotion elements that we want portrayed, and especially for this film. Um, but I'm glad everyone that you guys had to cast had to go through an experience of understanding on how people living with albinism, you know, go through, and we're at this stage we're discussing this. Maybe Grace, tell us more about your involvement, how playing a part in this film was for you, and the impact you see this film giving the world.
Well, for me, the first thing I will say is what is beautiful about this particular story is it's a very universal story. So as much as it is from Africa, it's very relatable globally, because people with albinism do face some form of discrimination. It may be very different to how the discrimination is in Africa. I do know here where I am, when I did speak about the movie as well, a lot of the Americans didn't understand, like, why do people treat albinos this way? And I already explained to them, just from the term that they use, that that was not the right term to use, because it's a skin disorder. So you don't give people titles because they have a skin disorder. Somebody with eczema, you don't go around calling them eczema or all sorts of names. And that already shows that there's a problem in how you look at somebody with that condition. And that's the reason why I feel it will have so much impact, because it is a universal problem when it comes to diversity and acceptance. And that is what I do champion on a daily basis. It's just from a different point of view. So playing this role, firstly, I'm a mother myself, and putting myself in the shoes of the mother, because of the character that I play the aunt to Joseph. So in generally there, you're already pouring into your maternal instincts as a mother and nurturing for a child. So that was it came naturally to me. It really came naturally to me. And I also loved the chemistry that Tabo and I had on all the scenes that we had together. And I think even offset, still had a great relationship in the way we would interact and speak. And that always plays a huge role in how you build your chemistry when you also get on set.
I think that's very important, and I think we spoke about casting, where, you know, you don't just get cast on a film just because you're good at acting. You're cast in there just because of your connection that you're going to have with the story itself, and playing a biopic story in a way, as I see it, because we're basing the story on lived experiences, on a real example of someone who has gone through this, and these are not stories that are foreign to any one of us here. We all have seen and heard issues around people living with albinism, and you know, it's there, it's right in our face, but we just didn't have the courage like what you guys have done to put this story in a film that people can now start understanding even more, and you know, paying attention to the real issues that go that are around us, and all. Mr. Lawrence, in just in terms of this whole process for you, where do you see the impact line in this film? What the end goal? What is the real end goal for yourself? Where do you see this going?
You know, people will understand the issues surrounding albinism, and you know, just be a bit more sensitive with how they're going to treat people living with albinism. But most importantly, there's this myth that surrounds people living with albinism. And the many people I've spoken to who are living with albinism, I found that they live in fear because they cannot go to school or go out for a drink with anybody, even a family member, because they'd be planning to see how best they could corner him and either cut off a part of his arm or actually kill him. This happens quite a bit, especially in the rural parts of Zambia. Many people living with albinism have a challenge, and they say that most of the communities, especially in the rural areas, they say that people living with albinism don't die; they just disappear. And the reason being is that when a person living with albinism dies, the family sort of like make secret of the burial, because if they open the funeral to everybody and they see where the person is buried, they're going to go back and exhume the body and then cut the body up for parts. And this has happened. There's been so many open graves of people living with albinism. So I'm hoping with this film we'll be able to just sensitize people, especially those in the rural areas, because you see most of the people in the rural areas have families from the city, because the film might not reach them, but at least families will be able to extend information there and help out with the sensitization which is going around in the rural areas, so that people can understand that there's no such thing like getting rich from using a body part of a person living with albinism. So I was just going to say, I'm glad that the quality of the film that Kenny directed and Yasmin produced achieved exactly what I was hoping that would be achieved at the end of the day. Because I think to get it on the right platforms, you have to have the right quality of work. And I think I'm glad that the two young people actually delivered on this.
Yeah. And I'll come straight to you, Kenny, on this one in terms of just moving from commercial productions to this different type of focus for you. It's not an easy task, and also having Netflix pick it up and say, you know what, this is good, we're going to run with it, we're actually going to premiere it on our platform, is a huge step for any filmmaker or any technical person in this industry. That process for you, how's been that journey in transition? Is this something you're going to stick around in, or you're still going to go back to commercial productions, or film is your newfound love now? How's that been for you?
I think what I appreciate about the process of making commercials, and the advantage I've had as well, and I'll say it's a blessing, is I've managed to travel the continent, the African continent, and shoot as many countries as possible. And most of the time, I'm presented with challenging scripts. Some of them are VFX, some of them have really strong characters. And I think it was a huge training ground for me to be able to work in all those spaces. But I think the love has always been there for filmmaking. I come from the background where you watch the Tarantinos create interesting stories, and the Christopher Nolans. Right now, we're talking about me going to see Oppenheimer. So the love is really strong, and I think having this opportunity and Mr. Lawrence Thompson trusting us to be able to create this story, I think it's just the start. I think like any other production is you want to do better. So I think the productions you see from us going forward will be much stronger and more compelling. Yeah, not that this one is not. It is definitely.
Totally. And I think it's also comes down to just when you immerse yourself in a story like this, the time you spend in it, and also just in post-production, because you're involved in all the processes now as a director. You're not just there on the set. You have to go through everything. it's different when you do commercials. Because with the commercials, it's a set script, it's a set kind of thing that you want, and you know, it's totally different in terms of focus for anyone. As a producer, also, I see your profile mentions a lot of commercial as well, in terms of aspects of your career. How's this been? Is this something you're also going to say, you know what, I'm going to stick around filmmaking?
I think after the experience with Can You See Us, I got to also kind of self-introspect and discover what else about film I love. So definitely it's not going to be a one-hit wonder. We've started kind of brainstorming our new project, and it's in scripting process already, and also delving into new areas, not just producing, but doing way more than that, is getting to know more of the technical, from a lighting DOP perspective, getting to know more about how to script, what makes a compelling script, what an international script that would appeal to Africa, but globally as well. Learning the distribution aspect of it all. And definitely, it's not a one-hit wonder. We've got more rich African stories to tell, and we need producers who are ready to step out of their comfort zone and tackle those stories and bring them to life. And I think the positive thing is, like Kenny said, doing commercials and documentaries and doing them around Africa has been a very enriching process, because I've reached a point where I'm like, okay, I'm ready to write more of these stories. I'm ready to produce them, regardless of whether you're in a structured film industry like South Africa, or you're outside of South Africa, where things are not as structured, you know. And yeah, it was the first step that we needed to overcome. And now that we're getting over the hill, it's like, okay, we're good. We're ready for the next one.
That's good. That's good. No, I think that's exactly what we need when we start on something new. You know, as creatives, we get so excited, but there's also an element of specializing that you know, part of the other world. You know, most of the films, if you see them coming from Hollywood, see them coming from Europe, and you see the crew in there, and you see their profilings, they're mostly specialized in the key areas that they do. If they're a director, they probably directed thousands and thousands of things, and still stuck up in that kind of role. I'm going to come to you earlier quickly, and talk to the cast a little bit. Reading through your profile here, there's an interesting line that I saw. It says, I hope to take the Zambian flag high to the world and one day be called an African actor and hopefully go on to win an Oscar award. That's huge, coming from someone who has been doing theater play and now into film, and you actually want to be called an African actor and go on to win an Oscar at the same time. How's that feeling for you when you know, when you actually say something like that? Because that's positive affirmation for me. If I'm an actor and I say things like that to myself, it means I see the value in what I do, and where I want to go. How has that been for you as an actor in Zambia, and where you want to see yourself in a few years?
I say that because I put in the work, and I see that I believe that I'm not doing it for just Zambia. I'm doing it for the entire Africa, and I mean it when I say one day I'm gonna get that Oscar. I really mean it. I see it, and seeing Can You See Us on Netflix, it's like, oh, okay, I think God is listening. We're getting there. You know, we were getting there. I put in the work. The character Martin, the father to Joseph, it was a very challenging character, because I was playing the role of a father. I'm not a father myself. I'm not a dad yet, but I needed to understand what a dad would do in this situation. What would you say to a child that is living with albinism, and then you have no idea what albinism is, because you think like, you know, I'm fine, I'm okay, but you have a child, you're raising a child, and then this child is asking questions. There's a scene where she's asking, what's a Mwabi? I remember before we shot that scene, she I was talking to the mother to Taro, the real mother to Taro, and she was like, she actually doesn't know what a Mwabi is. So when she's saying that line in the movie, she wants you to explain what a Mwabi is for real. And when she asked that question, I was like, I don't even know what to say to you because I have no idea. I wanted to cry so bad because to me it was like, so there's someone out there who thinks you are not a normal human being just like everyone else, and they think that's cool. So it was a heavy character for me. I needed to feel everything that Joseph was feeling and be able to help through, if I can in some way. So when I say one day I'm gonna get that Oscar, I really mean it because I put in the work. When I get the role, I make sure I do whatever I can. Like this is the last role I'll ever do in my life. That's how I take it.
Wow, no, that's powerful. And I would love for you, when we're done with this conversation, to play out what you just said again to yourself, because this is your own self-affirmation. This is something that is going to see you through, into your next level of playing key roles in films in Africa and telling stories. And what you've just said there, having to explain a meaning of something live for the first time to someone and bringing understanding to it. I think I can't even explain it. I can't explain it because I'm not an actor. You had to immerse yourself in that role and make sure you deliver it. And for that, we're just going to take a quick break. And when we're back, I'm going to talk to Ruth, just find out more about her journey as an actor. I know you're doing a lot of drama acting back in school, your early days, and now you're playing these key roles, and we're going to be seeing you on Netflix. So we'll be back after this.
All right.
Say this: I am powerful.
I am powerful.
Breathe.
I don't care where you go.
I am strong.
I am strong.
I am worthy.
I am worthy.
I belong.
I belong.
Didn't I tell you that we don't play with people like you?
They could never understand you. And what they don't understand, they fear. And what they fear, they seek to destroy.
The first feature film coming from Zambia, and being on the big platform Netflix. And I'm speaking to the crew and cast of this film, amazing film, as you can tell from the trailer. And I'll read part of the press release that we were given. And it says it's a gripping tale that is inspired by a true story. Can They See Us? Is a story of a little Joseph. I'm not so sure it's meant to be little Joy or boy there. You guys are going to let me know. Joseph, who lives with albinism. It highlights the many challenges he faces growing up and how music and love became the solace and strength to overcome. And as we're talking about the film and understanding it, I think we've heard the many challenges that anyone who's identified as Joseph is our Tabo here. And interesting, if you haven't also noticed that our Joseph is not necessarily Joseph in real life. It's our beautiful Tabo, who had to immerse herself in a role so difficult, and she was a boy in this film, and she nailed it. She totally nailed it. Coming to you, Ruth, your journey started early in school. I think doing drama. Has this been something you always loved to do, and did you ever see yourself being on a big screen like this and being watched all over the world on Netflix?
I think it's a passion that has been hidden in me, because when I started back in school, I was just doing it for the fun of it, not really thinking that it might have an impact. I may need to actually express myself in that way in the near future. So it has been a passion of mine. And I remember when I went for the auditions for Can You See Us, I just went there to pass time. I really didn't think that I would be chosen for such a role. And when you ask about how I feel about being on the screen, being on Netflix, it's an amazing feeling. It feels so good. I never thought that I would ever see myself on Netflix. So it's a good feeling. It's an amazing feeling, and it is a passion. And I think I'm actually going to work on it. I'm going to harness the passion, and I'm going to sharpen it. Yeah, I may just be the next Lupita Nyong'o.
You're absolutely going to be more than that. I think that is just a bar set for yourself, but there's nothing that can stop you from being more than that. Because you played a key role in making sure Joseph could play out as well the way she did. Tabo as Joseph in this. There has to be those connections. Like what Grace said, there has to be real connections. And as actors, your task is to bring that to life. And you did well. And this is why we have to look back at our own lives and say, you know what? If I look back and when I was 5, I used to love doing this and that. And fast forward it, we are now playing out our roles that we were trying to, grow ourselves into back then. Joseph, our Tavo there. For you, I know you're still young, so we can't go back too much into your life and say, you know what, I have had 10 years doing this and yada yada. For you, is this the first film you've worked on? Is this or you've been doing other productions that you've been involved in?
It's not actually my first film, because I featured in Ubuntu season 2 as the youngster from them. That's when I came to Kendesias. Though the part in Ubuntu wasn't really big, it was just a short part.
But in film, it doesn't matter. I can be a background actor, but just because I'm involved in that film allows me to experience other roles and how productions play out. And you had this big opportunity to be the main face, the main character in this film. What are some of the pressures that you think you had just trying to play this role and trying to make people understand the character that you're playing?
I really had to put effort in this, because after reading the script, I knew that Joseph was being discriminated and treated badly. So I really wanted to do my best so that I can give the message to everyone, because it's just not nice knowing the fact that every time I wake up, that if I go outside, people start calling me names, spitting in their shirts. So I really wanted to give a message to them.
So for you, it was more personal. It really was something that you still live through as an individual in real life, not just on film. But this is something that you go through every day, and you had to play that character. Is that correct?
Yes.
And how's that been for you personally over this your life journey?
It was a really nice thing to act as Joseph. I didn't really have to transform, because I've always had the passion of acting. I've always wanted to
Right.
be an actor. The most parts which I practiced to be an actor, I really loved to cry. I would get a mirror, put some water, and be like, why would you do this? I really loved to cry. That was
Well,
my favorite.
that's quite interesting because I think well, you guys, you're actors. Some of you are actors here. I mean, you would probably tell us, getting an emotion out of yourself, and making it look real, is not easy. That's why I mean, I've been on sets where people had to, just put uh, what you call an onion or whatever to just bring the tears out. It's so fake in a way, but when others play other roles and they immerse themselves in an emotion and they literally cry, it's totally different. You connect with the person immediately. You could tell the emotions that come with it. I'll come to you, Grace, here as we close down. Um, can you see us? Can you see us? And for you, I think you already mentioned how important it was for you being a mom and also just playing this character. Where do you see this film going in terms of its impact, and the messaging?
I mean, we have this great opportunity where the film is going to be seen globally on Netflix. Um, I do think it will win hearts of many people. It will get a lot of attention on the international scale. Um, it already is going global now, which is what it's intended to be. And it's a beautiful thing to just be part of a such a story, such a compelling story. And my expectations for it, I do hope to see it have more opportunities to get awards, which is something that I do know adds value to the film itself and for the cast and crew. Aside from the one that it did get in Burkina Faso, but other awards as well would be great to see the film go that far. Um,
Okay. And I'll come to you, Ruth, as well in closing. Um, what would you probably tell aspiring actors, out there in Zambia or across Africa that, probably walking your journey, still young, still trying to find themselves? What could you tell them?
For the young ones who want to get into the film industry, I would encourage them to make sure that they go for auditions. No matter how many times they don't get called, they don't get picked, they must continue to go for auditions. Because I remember before I went for the can they see us auditions, I had gone for many. I can't even count how many they are, and I never received a call. Not even a call back. But I never gave up. I kept going, I kept going, I kept going, because I knew that one day somebody would identify my talent. Another thing I would encourage young aspiring actors: practice. Use your mirror, talk to yourself, because as you talk to yourself in the mirror, pretend the mirror is a camera. Talk to yourself. The more you do that, the more you practice, the more you get better at it. Try as much as possible to practice and practice and practice, and have faith. Have faith in yourself. That's the most important thing, because you need to have faith in yourself. You need to see the talent in you before anyone else can see it. What you show people is something that you already have inside. So if you know that you can do it, make sure that you put in your best. Put in the time, put in the effort, put in the practice, put in the faith, and love it. You have to love what you do, because the camera does read. It will read you. If you're not in the moment, you're not loving what you do, that's what everybody else will see. So you have to love it, go for the auditions, and practice as much as possible.
For Elliot, transitions to the big picture, it's not easy. what can you probably tell your fellow theater artists that are also, wishing and hoping to be in film?
Study your craft, work on it, and one thing that I go by every day is if I can't work hard for a role, then I should not do it. It's not worth it. So that's what I do. Yeah. So work hard for a role. If you get the role, you get the chance, do it like this is the last thing you ever do in your life. And it shows, effort shows, and it pays off. We're on Netflix now. So yeah.
I'll come to you, Joseph, here, our Tabo. There are many Josephs out there, and also many young aspiring actors out there that are going to look at you and say, wow, she was so brave. She did this. And you're actually a superstar. And I want you to understand that. And it's going to be different, and it's going to change. You'll be in many, newspapers, go through interviews. Are you ready for that, Tabo? Is this something you pumped up for?
Yes, I'm ready. I'm ready for everything.
That's good. That's good. That's very good. I mean, you need the confidence, isn't it, to be ready for anything. So, what can you tell to the little Josephs out there that are going to probably see this and say, "Wow, she's managed to tell my story amazingly."
So, to those who would like to act, it's the matter of patience and faith. To have patience and faith. If you know that you can act, if you have a talent, if you know that you can act, it's better to bring it out. Look for somewhere where you can get some auditions so you can embrace your talent, to show people your talent. And I would advise them to read Matthew chapter 25, verse 1 to 25. The
Wow.
parable of the talents.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing. And to the little Josephs as well, or to anyone who's going to identify themselves as a Joseph, what would you tell them?
To other albinos, I would say don't mind those people who say bad stuff about you. Just think about those people who love you. Appreciate that your mom or your dad loves you. Appreciate your family. Don't care about everyone else because they just speak what they know. All they know to do is insult and criticize. They don't know how to speak what's right. So just keep confidence and love yourself.
No, that's it. I think that's the key message there. Love yourself and be brave and understand that you have family around you. Family is all you need, and family protects you from anything. And you're more than enough. I think people forget that part. No matter who you are, you're more than enough, and you're the best version of yourself. This story is going out there. Is this the first and last for yourself, or you're gonna see yourself, looking for more amazing stories out there, and getting this kind of type of storytelling out there? What's next for you?
Okay, my background is actually I've been directing television series, and my genre is generally human interest and true life stories. I did one on the Street Kids, which was shown on Zambezi Magic, and then also currently I'm working on another film which already has got funding. It's going to go international. I managed to get an international funder from the Cannes Film Festival, and this deals with the girl-child education and early marriages, because in a certain part of Zambia, there's girls who get married at a tender age because they're forced into it. So we're going to do something like that, which is already on the cards, and we're just hoping to get into production quite soon. Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. No, we love to see it, and we wish you all the best in your career path and bringing these stories you know, as you have done with Can You See Us? I'll come to you, Kenny. What's next after this?
Yes, I think this is a good foot in the door and a good start. So what we've been working on and thinking about is just kind of creating other stories as well that are different, and also looking at collaborations with other international parties, so that from this point we grow and we get bigger. I think this is a beautiful start. Yeah.
That's good. And for yourself, Yasin, in closing.
People should expect to be blown away by an authentic African story that has been told by Africans themselves and have elevated their storytelling techniques to an international level. They need to take our act serious. They need to take us as storytellers, producers, directors, cast very serious. Zambia is bringing amazing people to the foreground. As you've seen, each and every one of the cast here has done an amazing job. They've showed their range. They've showed their talent, their ability to come forward. Mr. Thompson's storytelling has been amazing in this. And, going forward for myself, working with my partner, my husband, it's to take Zambia to the world and to take Africa to the world stage at an international platform, and show that we can provide quality content that meets the national standard.
Absolutely. And you guys have done it very well. From animation to film, we're seeing the big things happening from Zambia. Zambia is opening up the market for more creative to, excel. And you guys have done very well, and I'm super proud of you. I'm excited. I'm super excited, and I thank you all for taking time, to just come and have a chat. This wasn't a hard conversation. This was just a more casual conversation for us. But I wish you all the best. This is a huge step for Tabo. Like I say, this is going to be amazing for you. This is a beginning of many, many amazing stuff coming your way. For everybody else who's been involved here, Elliot, I mean, your journey to the Oscar is very close. So keep it up. And for Ruth, thank you for sharing the words. People are going to look at you and say, you know what, I'm going to be a Ruth. As much as you want to be, Lupita, people would also want to be like you. So just keep that in the back of the mind. Open yourselves to, people who want to learn. You becoming role models now in the African scene, and people are going to want to understand you more. And believe me or not, people believe the real character that you play is probably what you are. So you're going to have to deal with that again. We've had our stories being told by Hollywood for so long, and told to their own understanding and not to our experience, And this is important for me, seeing Africans taking up this and showcasing them. So thank you very much. And let's get things going. And I'll talk to you guys again very soon. As we round up, we'll watch the trailer again and see you again next time.
Say this: I am powerful.
I am powerful.
Breathe.
I don't care where you go.
I am strong.
I am strong.
I am worthy.
I am worthy.
I belong.
I belong.
Didn't I tell you that we don't play with people like you?
They could never understand you. And what they don't understand, they fear. And what they fear, they seek to destroy.